time to feed the trolls. Season 3. Hello, this is Cute Fuzzy Weasel, and it's time once again to feed the trolls. So I've literally, within 24 hours, regained my ability to speak for long periods of time, so I figured I would make up the... God, it's been almost a month now. I'd make up the time between the last episode and this episode by doing a video that I've gotten so many requests to do. So sit back, this might be another long one. We're gonna do Glenn Beck's other video on why video games will kill us all.
Paying attention to it. But,
I love how the copy of this video that I have seems to cut at the end of some other conversation. I like to let the twisted side of my brain imagine what was being said prior to the camera actually coming on. And the kid we have trapped under the floorboards just keeps screaming.
Paying attention to it. But, the thing that I want to talk to you here is the conversation that we're not having. And the conversation that we're not having as a culture is the role of the internet and the busyness of our lives.
No, actually, Glenn, we had that conversation already. We had it all the way back in 2005. Actually, you could argue that we had that conversation back in 1996. So, sorry you're late for the party.
And these video games in particular.
Damn it, Glenn, you're only 50. Why do you look so fucking old?
Let me give you this story. A coroner has expressed great concern over the violent video game Call of Duty after 4 teenagers who regularly played went to kill themselves. John Pollard claims the Certificate 18 game, which includes graphic scenes of soldiers killing each other, had featured in several inquests he had presided over. This is in England. He's a coroner. A warning came after a hearing in the death of a schoolboy, William Menzies, who was always playing the game. That's in quotation marks.
So basically, a coroner is saying there's a link between some kids killing themselves and Call of Duty. Now, as much as I would love to say, oh, yes, Call of Duty fucks with you, I gotta say, that's a pretty strenuous link there.
The 16-year-old, who was studying A-levels in biology, physics, politics, and psychology at one of Britain's top grammar schools, had shown no signs of depression or distress before his sudden death.
That is, unfortunately, Beck, sometimes how suicide works. People can just up and kill themselves without warning. I don't care if the student was A-level, that doesn't mean anything. People can kill themselves even if they have a booming career.
In March 2012, another teenager, Callum Green, hanged himself after playing Call of Duty with his stepfather.
And, Glenn, there are people who kill themselves after eating macaroni and cheese. Are you gonna say Kraft is responsible? Again, this has less to do with video games and more to do with the speculation on the coroner's part.
The game had also been linked to the deaths of 2 other unnamed teenagers. Recording a suicide verdict at Williams' inquest, Mr. Pollard said, "I have to say, and this is after 3 or 4 inquests into deaths of teens, the Call of Duty game seems to be figuring in recent activity just before death, and it concerns me greatly."
Yeah, well, I'm also gonna guess that these people enjoyed cereal and watched television. But I don't see them going after either of those. But when it comes to Call of Duty, you know, a video game, and how much money certain news outlets, not saying these guys, will pay people of authority to go on their network and say, well, you know, there might be a link between these newfangled video games and all the horrible things that happen in the world forever everywhere. I see less of an actual link between suicides and more a link between wallets.
It is figured in a number of deaths, which I am investigating. I suspect, but I don't know because I don't have enough evidence, that William may have been experimenting with something or deliberately intending to do something, but I haven't got the evidence.
Okay, this is Rich. So in the article, the guy actually says, hey, I'm just kind of speculating here. He actually says that. But you're still, Beck, gonna parade the story around like these kids killed themselves because they couldn't get a kill streak. Now, it might just be me, but that really does kind of seem like a dick thing to do.
There is no note or indication that he was feeling down or distressed at all. Call of Duty, produced by Activision as warfare game, blah, 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 sold 100 million copies around the world, but has been dogged by controversy with its violent content.
And derivative storyline and subpar graphics.
Criticized by the London Jewish Forum, the British Muslim Forum, and Church of England.
Hold on, wait, what? What? The Church of England? What? Okay, someone in the comments below, tell me why the Church of England? Was there a Call of Duty Let's Destroy the Church of England game?
Don't forget that, remember the massacre in Norway? Where 77 people were killed? Do you remember what he said?
That he killed them because they were socialists and liberals? Yes, I do actually remember that, Glenn.
No.
He was trained to kill with Call of Duty and other video games.
That's true, Glenn. He did say that he trained using Call of Duty and a hologrammatic device, but you know what else really helped him kill all those people? His insanity. And I suspect, Glenn, that helped a whole lot more than the video game. Because again, there is a huge difference between this and this.
Isn't it interesting that we immediately had the gun talk here in America?
Not really, no.
That we talked about the guns. Nobody talked about the 77 people that were killed.
Yes, they did! The whole country talked about them! Specifically about how sad it was that they were dead!
By a guy who said, I was trained to kill by playing these video games.
No. The guy was trained to kill by far right-wing ideology that said it was okay. And I'm gonna be really honest here. It's not that hard to use a gun, Glenn. I mean, really, all he needed to do was know how to shoot and reload. Those aren't exactly the hardest things to figure out. It wasn't like he needed training on how to properly clean and maintain the weapon. He just needed to know how to shoot it. And shooting a gun is easy. I doubt Call of Duty really taught him anything. You're missing the forest for the trees here, Glenn. It's not that Call of Duty trained him to kill. It's that he wanted to kill in the first place. Once you've made the conscious decision that you're gonna go and shoot up a place, you can teach yourself how to shoot up the place in your own head using anything. I guess if Breivik had come out and said, yeah, I learned how to kill by watching the Home Shopping Network, I guess you'd be all like, yeah, we gotta close down all these gardening shows. They're too goddamn violent. Look, Glenn, if you want to make the argument that instead of focusing on stricter gun control, we should have focused more on a more comprehensive mental health care system, fine. All right, there is a poignant argument for that. There is an actual argument for that, Glenn. But you're gonna go after violent video games? Why don't you also go after violent books and violent movies and violent TV? Oh, right, you do that. Right, I forgot. Freedom of speech, not in practice. But Weasel, you might say, video games are a unique experience. You know what else is a unique experience? Reading a book and watching a movie, fucking skydiving, flying in a plane, driving in a car. Should we put fucking labels on everything now? Put a label on a video game, warning, this is a unique experience, and if you're predisposed for violent behavior anyway, you might find you use this as an excuse to go do it? I suppose we should have warning labels on fucking movies too. Warning, this depicts violent. Oh right, we do! Alright, we already have warning labels on games. They're called the ESRB rating. And they're called the motion picture rating. And it's called the television rating. Right, we already do that. I guess those aren't good enough. We need to put further warning labels on shit. While we're at it, let's go ahead and put a label on condoms. Warning, sex feels interesting. Let's put labels on books. Warning, this book depicts fictional actions. Because it's not like we have this really complicated, super adaptive computer in our fucking heads that's able to tell the difference between fiction and reality, unless there's a problem with it. But then if there's a problem with it, maybe you should spend less time labeling everything so the 0.01% of our population that has that problem doesn't trip over themselves on the way to doing whatever it is they're about to do, and focus more on finding out those people and getting them the help they need before they go and do something. And while I do think that there does need to be some kind of reform in how we deal with the sale and distribution of firearms so people who make blog posts about killing other people don't go out and get the means to actually do it, I also feel that after a certain point, unless it's an accident, It comes down to what's going on in here. And you can sit there and blame video games all you fucking want and be wrong all you fucking want. But in the end, it all comes down to whether or not these people are actually getting the help they need. That's the more important issue than blaming Call of Duty. And shame on you for trying to shame the people who might actually like a little bit of escapist fiction. Maybe it makes us feel good. But I suppose instead of playing those violent video games, we ought to spend all of our time in church. Because surely a society that spends every waking hour in service couldn't possibly go apeshit, now could it?
Now, try this.
No, Glenn, how about you go off and try and play some of those horrible video games and see if you come into the studio tomorrow with a bunch of guns going, I played Gmod for 3 minutes and now I'm fucking cows! I have a feeling you won't.
This is a story that is actually coming out of Montreal, and...
You got something there?
It's about Ubisoft, which is a software company for video games. They do Assassin's Creed, et cetera, et cetera. They have a new one that is coming out, and the new one...
It's a cool game, too. These games are so seductive.
Look, dude in the corner, shut up, okay? Let the other idiot talk. If you want to have your own episode, do some fucking video... But we're focusing on one craptastic individual, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Really, really hard to ignore, really hard to stop playing.
Shut up, okay? Look, you're not Glenn Beck, all right? This episode isn't feeding the trolls whoever the fuck that guy is. It's feeding the trolls Glenn Beck.
I mean,
my
kids loved him before.
They pay $250 million to develop these things.
Yeah, a lot of money in video games. You might know that if you paid attention at all to the medium.
$250 million to develop.
You know what they're doing.
Yeah, they practice for 100 hours on them. They play them 100 hours in testing.
Yeah, play testing is important, Glenn. They have to do it for 100 or more hours to make sure that when you go through a map, you don't suddenly fall through the ground and into, like, the mirror zone.
All the people who are testing 100 hours. Think of that. All right, Watchdog is a new one. It's called Watch Dogs, and their stock is going down because this particular game is late in its development.
I know, right? To video is old. LOL, Weasel. Why do these? It owes old.
And they say they just don't have it right yet, but when they do, it's going to be the blockbuster game.
It's okay.
I want you to listen to this. Watch Dogs features a troubled anti-hero named Aiden Pierce. Now, an anti-hero. Have we not had enough? Can we have any heroes? Why must everyone be an anti-hero?
What can I say, Glenn? Anti-heroes are just more interesting.
Why must everyone break the law and do the thing? Why can't we have a Superman?
Oh, yeah. Because Superman's never done anything wrong.
Why can't we have somebody who is doing the right thing, does the hard thing? Instead, everybody is an anti-hero.
Wait, so breaking the law is never right, never justified, Glenn? Civil disobedience is never justified? Just strict adherence to authority. That's all that ever matters and all that's important? Really? Really, Glenn? Really?
A troubled anti-hero named Aiden Pierce, a Belfast immigrant bent on avenging the murder of his young niece, when he coincidentally uncovers the Big Brother-like Bloom Corporation.
Okay, Glenn. Be real for a second. If it wasn't the Bloom Corporation, if it was like big government doing this, you'd probably be singing this game's praises. Just be honest, Glenn.
As a castigator of violence in the name of justice, Pierce takes the player on 50 missions through Chicago's autumn streets, back alleys, and decrepit housing project. A life-size poster of this conflicted protagonist looms on a conference room wall at Ubisoft.
Oh my god, Glenn, you mean to tell me that the product that this company sunk hundreds of millions of dollars into is also a product that they want to gin up support for and they feel proud of? Holy shit, Glenn, what are we going to do to survive? Oh my god, what's happened to this country? Oh god, my children are growing up in a hellscape. Jesus.
Pierce is clad in a trench coat, baseball cap, and a scarf that cover all but his menacing, judgmental eyes.
Yeah, sounds like the people at the Bundy Ranch.
While his obscured vidges.
You okay, Glenn? Maybe you should try paraphrasing or not reading us the entire article to pad out your runtime.
Visage is meant to frighten, but it also can make him seem somehow paranoid. There's a reason for that. Watchdogs allow the players to hack into cell phones, ATMs, drawbridges, even helicopters. Through cameras and laptops and televisions, players can peer into someone's fictional files and bedrooms to wholly envelop the lives of others. The game's primary goal is to track down the killers of Aiden's niece and halt a potential evil of the all-seeing corporation.
I know, right? How fucking boring is that? Now, if the game was about him going to the grocery store and back, that would be fucking exciting.
That's much apparent after several recent interviews with Ubisoft staff members and the exclusive 2-hour peek at the game.
Oh god, Glenn, you're really gonna go over the whole fucking article, aren't you? You know, Beck, this is your video, you know, you could try injecting some commentary or something into this to where I feel like I'm not listening to a lecture from a crazy guy. I mean, god damn it, this video is 11 minutes long. Actually, you know what? And this is gonna piss future me off, but as an experiment, I'm gonna go through this video and cut out everything where he's just talking, where he's just reading an article. I'm gonna cut out all the times he's just reading the article and see how long the video actually is.
Anyway, the idea here is they're teaching you to hack.
All right, Glenn. I don't know how computer literate you are, so I'll go easy on you, but this is what hacking looks like in Watch Dogs. You see all the lines and everything, and the weird, stupid diamond-y shapes and stuff, and the things and everything. Okay, that's what hacking looks like in Watch Dogs. This is what hacking looks like in real life. See all the boring computer screens and all the numbers and everything and all that stuff? Yeah, now, you understand why the two look different. It's because if you made a game where you actually hacked things realistically, it'd be boring as fuck.
And then become the ultimate voyeur in other people's lives, including their bedrooms, by hacking into their phones and everything that we talked about. When I said, hey, how many times you go to bed at night and have a conversation with your wife or other things at night, and you put this, your iPad or your phone, in the docking station right there at the edge of your bed. This game is teaching people to hack in to whatever is docked in your bedroom.
Oh yeah, Glenn. There are people lining up to hack your docking station so they can get into your camera on your laptop or your smartphone or your tablet and watch you pork your wife. Because that's what people want to see. Naked Glenn Beck.
What the heck is wrong with us?
We live in ever-evolving, changing times. Like we have forever.
What is wrong with us? What are we thinking?
That our phone battery is running low and we should probably recharge it.
We are inviting this into our home and our lives. We are teaching our kids for entertainment purposes. Last night I had a conversation with Rafe, and he said, Dad, Mom listened to your show. And
hang on. You named your son Rafe? I can't decide whether or not that's an awesome name or a really stupid name.
She's already talked to me, and I said, I know. Now, he's not playing video games at home. He's playing video games when he goes to his friend's house. No video games.
Oh, yes, and I'm sure he adheres strictly to that, too. Oh, no, Michael, don't put that video game into that console and hand me a controller so we can play multiplayer. My dad doesn't approve.
And, you just kind of get worn down. What are you going to do?
I don't know. Let him play harmless video games. How about it? Why don't you give it a chance and see if your kids don't go crazy from playing Minecraft? Ah!
What are you going to do? Stop seeing friends? Stop going over to people's houses? What are you going to do?
Knowing how you operate, Glenn, that's probably what you did do.
What are you going to do? And that's the way we felt. And we get worn down and we get tired just like you do. And we want to believe that it's somehow or another going to be different. Somehow or another it's going to be okay.
God damn it, it's a video game. It's not like your son's walking up to you going, come on, Dad, let me smoke meth just once.
It's just
Wait a
not
second, what the fuck?
I can't tell you that.
That's a skull!
I don't know.
What the? Why do you have a skull? You keep talking about how much you're worried about your kid's mind getting screwed up by video games. Mister, your fucking studio has human remains in it! Now, to be fair, that probably isn't a real skull, but still, you have a fucking skull in your studio, Glenn. Not only isn't it a skull, but it's got some kind of writing on it. What does that say? Side, I can't read the whole thing, but the other word is tyranny. What the hell? That's kinda creepy. Kinda.
I can't tell you that. I don't know. It could be your kid. Could be Pat's kid. Could be Stu's kid.
Beck, if your kid and all your friends' kids all get together one day and go shoot up a place, it's not going to be because Call of Duty.
Could be mine. I don't know. Could be all of them. We don't know. And I sat down and I said, son, these games rewire your brain.
No, they don't. Video games aren't a drug. They're not a chemical substance you just ingest. They don't change your fucking brain chemistry or rewire how you view the world, okay? Unless you're putting them directly into your head, I'm pretty sure you're okay.
They rewire. We don't even know what they do yet. This is brand new stuff.
No, it isn't. We've had video games for quite some time. In fact, we've had video games for so long that people who grew up playing them are now in positions of authority, and so far, I don't see anybody proposing that we all go and bow down to the mighty overlord CPU.
I told you yesterday that just reading your books on a reader changes the way you remember things.
Yeah, Glenn, I guess they do change how you remember things. Instead of remembering reading something off of a book, you'll remember reading something off of a reader.
We are losing vital information, and you know this to be true if you use a reader instead of a hardbound book.
Only if whatever book you're reading happens to be the condensed version, Beck.
When you use a reader, nothing looks different.
Except for the different words on the page.
You have no tactile memory.
Did I miss something in elementary school? The pages, does each individual page in a book have its own unique tactile feel to it? Did I fucking miss that?
You also can remember, you can pick up a book and you can say, oh, I remember this was in this book. Hang on, let me find it. And you can find it. Try to do that with your reader.
Oh my God. Glenn Beck is an adult with no concept of page numbers.
If you haven't highlighted, try to find something in your reader. You can't.
Page numbers, Beck!
Because you have no idea in the book where you saw it.
How do you figure? Unless it was written down in a book, we're all like, oh God, I don't remember what I read in that story because it wasn't on paper. Well, I'm sorry we didn't all grow up in the Great Depression, apparently. It's like we're not able to fucking adapt to new information and different experiences. Glenn, are you sure you're not projecting at all? I wonder if there were people like you back when we switched from scrolls to books, if there were people going, I don't know, I mean, in this book you got all these pages and shit, but in the scroll, it's just one piece of paper. You can just go down to where it was. We're gonna lose something moving to these newfangled books.
Because you don't pick up the book and dog-ear the pages. You don't pick up the book and know where you are, know what it felt like, whether you're at the beginning of the book or the end of the book. And it is harming just our memory to be able to recall.
If you like the feel of books, buy books. You know, it's not like they haven't stopped making books. I'm so sorry your brain can't grasp reading something on a tablet. Something, I remind you, people have been doing since the late 80s. Yes, the late 80s.
It's not good.
God, just Dan.
My son looked at me and he said, well, Dad, you're always on the iPad. You're answering emails and stuff. And I almost said to him, I have to.
Well, Glenn, actually, you sort of do. You're the head of a media company. It's implied by the job description that, yeah, you're going to be checking emails a lot. I mean, shit, I run a minor league YouTube channel and I have to answer emails constantly.
And I stopped. I said, you're right. You're right. Everybody wants to talk about guns.
Except for you, all you apparently want to do is talk about the dangers of the deadly nook.
Everybody wants to talk about Hollywood movies. Everybody wants to talk about the guys who made these video games. It's not their fault.
You just got done arguing that it was! Fuck you!
It's not their fault. Well, yes. Listen to what Pat said. Yes, it's really hard to avoid them. Listen to what I said. Or they're going to find them. They're going to find them anyway. Really hard to avoid. And then once you start, it's hard to put them down.
Oh, sure, because it's not like anybody who's normal has self-control or anything. I put down Space Engineers to make this video, and I fucking love that game.
Yeah, so is crack cocaine.
Okay, I'm done. If you guys have any trolls you want me to feed, list them in the comments below. And as always, have a good day. No, I'm done. I'm done. I know the video's not over. I'm done. I'm done. Fuck that. Yeah, video games are like crack, Glenn. Yeah, that's why I smoke them with a pipe. I grind up the disc and I smoke it like a fucking crack pipe. I took the bottle out of that thing, right?